Hey folks, welcome back to Shadow Empire. We're on round 137, and yeah, this game's getting pretty interesting again. For me, at least, I'm really kind of interested in what's going on here. Particularly now I've got my logistics back in line. So I made some adjustments to the logistics system that kind of was recommended to me by Vic and some of the rest of you as well. Thanks to all of you again, by the way, who contributed to looking at the logistics system for me and trying to help me, because that really helped. It really did. And yeah, so Leo Panther picked up an interesting thing. He was like, as one of my long-term viewers, he said, so you're trying to set up this ambush, just be careful you don't kind of give away your position with these troops, because the enemy will come up with something to counter it. Looks like that's what's happened. Now, I do actually think about my turns before I play them at the moment. Sorry, I do actually look at my turns before I play them at the moment, because I want to cut down on the amount of time that I either have to talk or, you just sitting there watching me ponder stuff. And I did think about that. Now, I'm more bothered about holding these mountains, in all honesty, and I really did not want the AI to get into there. I'm more bothered about that, to be honest, because the other thing is that if they'd have got into the mountains and I wasn't in there, right, they get a kind of spearhead here, and I cannot get them out, right? And at the moment I don't really have the logistics to be able to kind of go around and cut them off. Now, we could try and set that up maybe. The problem is I don't relish the idea of trying to dislodge an already strong infantry, right? Infantry models. Trying to move those guys out of mountains is pretty, yeah, it's pretty painful. I don't relish that thought at all. So yeah, well, at the moment I was more bothered about just kind of not having them move into here. But yeah, I think there are ways you can set up ambushes in Shadow Empire. Shadow Empire's got some odd things in it, right, that make it so that ambushes are a little bit less easy to do. Ah, okay. Now, things you can do in Shadow Empire to set up stuff like ambushes. Not ambushes, but to set up encirclements, is to do things like this. So you can kind of leave a gap here, right? Now, I'm actually, if you look at this rocky plains, we're here on rocky plains, and these guys are on rocky plains. In order to get through this gap, they're going to have to use a lot of action points, and then they stop here because they're in low mountains, right? So then you can kind of go, and then move around. So you don't have to cover, when you're in this kind of terrain, right, you don't really have to cover your whole, every part of the terrain. The other thing you can do is you can kind of hide your troops behind terrain as well. Okay, let's see what we can do here. I probably should attach these guys temporarily to the 6th Infantry. Oops. The 6th MG Infantry Brigade. Now, they're not doing anything at the moment. They don't really have much fuel. Fuel is the main logistical problem that we've got to deal with. Or at least the, our resource issue. Let's have a quick look at the history anyway before we start playing. Yeah, so you see that they started reinforcing that line up in the north. Dunkelstar are just kind of standing around. They're probably massing for an attack. Lost some troops in an airstrike here on this northern border with Goldstone. Oh, look at this. They're attacking these GR Automatus, and the Automatus absolutely beat them. That's good. Those things are really good. Shame we weren't able to save them, but we just didn't have the logistics there. Okay, we made a promise to the Lawful Humanist School for our morale. And we've got some cards. All right. Let's see if we can save these tanks. I'd like to, because that's the Demon Hunters, and we've had those in the game for a long time. Just more out of sentimental value than anything else. It would be quite nice. Dixie. This is a degraded LE reactor. Ah. Yeah, I want that. If I can get it. Let's keep those guys there. Now, we're getting replacements. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're actually getting replacements. And we're in a good position to start doing some damage. This can't become a rout. It needs to be a, fighting retreat, really. So, but I don't think we're in a position, like, these guys are on defense, look. We're on defense, so we're not going to do very well there. They're going to have to move off defense if they're going to attack us. Excuse me. I always play first thing in the morning at the moment, and I forget that my throat's a bit gummy in the mornings. So apologies about that. Let's see what we can do here. No, I don't like this. I don't like this. I think that this is a bit of a dangerous situation. I'm going to continue to move these out. They're too heavy for us to move out any other way by strategic move. Let's just put up a front here and see what we can do. And get these guys digging into the desert. These are not in the desert. These are on rocky plains, so they're open to a tank attack. I wonder if we can... I don't think we'll be able to join these troops, will we? I'm pretty sure I won't. Yeah, you can't reduce the horse. So, you can move a few of them. So the 5th into the 6th. Yeah, okay, we can't do that. Oh, we can move them completely in. Alright. Okay. Alright, so there we are. So we've actually got a full independent RPG regiment here, so I'll just join those two. Let's continue to move these guys back down. And then we'll get these down onto this front line if we can. Okay. Yeah, these are some big units. These got man pads with them on, haven't they? That's right. Yeah, I think they were a group that I started experimentally started adding some man pads to. We also need to increase. We do need to raise a formation here to replace these. Let's see what we can do. Where can we get these troops down to? We can probably move them down to here. Your SHQ must have the items. Okay, so the 4th Modern Infantry with Man-Prad Brigade. It's only 22% logistics. What's going on there then? Those logistics look pretty good to me. Where have we got a bottleneck? Don't see one. I think we can probably get these guys up here. Okay, RPGs or manpads? I think RPGs are the one, aren't they? We can put some manpads in there as well. Excuse me. Okay. Alright, so those guys are almost fully replenished. Yeah, okay, so that, I think that's about done. Yeah, we can't get that much more down here now. But we've got a couple of, like, full-size brigades coming down. Battalions, sorry. In fact, we've got some fairly almost up to full strength. They just haven't got the man-padders. And I'm not bothered about the man-pads. These guys they've not got aircraft. Dunkelstart might have them. We do need to consider that they might use those. Okay. What is going on with these? Let's move those back here and let's see if we can replace those Sunnies. Okay. Same job here. Move these back here. And just replace those recon aircraft. So we've at least got some aircraft. Okay, we're going to leave this end of the battlefield. Yeah, I'm going to move these guys like this. Okay. Let's see what we got over here. Oh, I'm starting to get some fuel replenishments. Look for some of these troops. These guys need Ironsides as well. Now. 729867. Yeah, so it is the Ironside 4 we want. Okay. Once we've got those guys fully replenished, I do want at least one motorized brigade. We do need to get some more fuel up, and I think... What are we building here? Yeah, building biofuel. I do need that one to come fairly soon. Going to be a while though by the looks of it. We're building Industry 5. I do need that too. But we put that on the lowest speed. This one's on the highest. We've got high command. That's going to be a while yet as well. Also, it's going to be many turns. Let's just have a quick look at Minos while we're in here. Yeah, look, work happiness is going up. They're getting more workers. Overall population is still going down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, still recruiting some workers for the military as well. But I need my military level up. I'm going to keep it like that for a little while at least, I'd say. I'm not going to continue with any more assaults here. We are getting more troops into these guys, by the way, now, and that is good. But I don't want to lose too many troops. I want to basically mass my troops, get loads of replacements in there, and make sure that we've got something that we can actually, you know, fight the enemy with. I'm tempted to get some more artillery up. And we'd need at least a regiment, because for the reasons I explained before, when you're attacking into a city like that with that many troops, it's not even worth using the battalion size. They're just not going to do the job. Where are we? Mechanized artillery regiment. I don't want mechanized. I don't care about that. Maybe motorized would be a better idea. We see the motorized artillery? Yeah, there we are. Oh. Okay. Motorized artillery regiment and... That's weird. Oh, mech artillery. I get it. So I'm thinking of these things. I'm looking at these things. So this is the mechanized artillery. It's these bees. Yeah, these things suck. I've only put a 60mm howitzer gun on them. That's why. So those, yeah, no wonder those things are coming up as being, easy for me to get. It's motorized artillery I want. Yeah, 59. Logistics. That's part of the issue. And also we got no. It's fuel as well. So we got no fuel. Okay, I really want some artillery though, but I don't have the time to manually haul them down there because that's not going to work. It's going to be really expensive to do in terms of time. All right, let's continue. So those bikes are going to stay where they are. We've got to do something about. Yeah, I don't want. I thought there was something creeping in here, but there's clearly not. Let's go and move that back, and then we'll move these guys back next turn. Alright, so onto this front here. I was going to keep those still. I need to use as little fuel as possible while we've got this fuel deficit. I might just pop those there. Okay, what am I doing here? So I'm going to try to lure the... I'm going to see if we can get the... find out what the enemy have got. They might go this way, by the way, in which case we're kind of in trouble. But we can rapidly move our troops back, I think, in that case. It depends on how many units he's got down here in T-Street. Can't really see there. We've also got Gallia here as well. Galley. These guys are going to get cut off. Let's move them back. Okay. Okay, so I'm hoping here what they're going to see is that we're actually pushing, we're kind of pushing in a cautious way, and we can now potentially get our troops to cut down like this. So I think unless he's got something to bring up round here, which he should do if he's declaring war on someone as big as me, then yeah, he's going to do that. Otherwise, he might just redeploy some more of these kind of around like he did. Which suggests to me that he's not got that many troops up here, which is kind of curious. Well, that's you know, interesting. And it's not necessarily an AI blunder, because I know that it can be very tempting, by the way, to just assume bad AI. But sometimes the AI in this game plays incredibly well. And whether it's a consequence of the AI being programmed to do this or not, sometimes the AI will do something that the player will react to, and it works out well for the AI. For example, moving these troops up here, causing me to spread my troops out further, and then they might just go like this. Do you know what I mean? So, like, whether it's through player, you know, the AI doing something, whether it's intended to be, you know, whether it's intended to have the effect several turns later that it has or not, it doesn't really matter. The fact is that it worked. So whether you will call that good AI or not, I'll leave that up to your own discretion, but I find it kind of interesting. Okay, I think we're good to go. I don't think I'm going to move anything here. Let's just have a look at the political situation with Dunkelstart. Okay, that's okay. Model Design Council task priorities. Let's just put this up to 90%.
Aye, aye, sir.
Foreign Affairs Council task priorities. And by the way, I know I'm going to get someone going, why don't you just put it on 99? It's like, because I don't want to. No, it's not that. It's because if I do forget, right? If I do forget about that there is a type coming through, 10% is going to give you something where 1% doesn't. So I'm not interested to micromanage that much where I'm just going to start moving it around by a few percent.
Understood.
Same here, for example. Okay. I think this was the United Liberation Front. I am going to check one more time. I've got a really bad memory for stuff like this. Yeah, it is United. Oh, no, that's not. It's the Real Politicas. So it's the Democratic Trade Faction. See, that's good that I did that. These guys are in power now, by the way. They've won their election. Samsaria now, they might actually, although they declared war on us, right? There's a better chance now of us being able to get peace with them. I think it's very, very low. Very, very low right now. You'll see, look. Yeah, we need to have 25 relation to propose peace. Okay, we can open contact with them though, look.
Understood.
Critical success. Alright, that's good. That's really, really good. Now the critical success should have given, yeah, it's given us 20 relations. So providing we don't threaten them too much, like we're gonna, you know, we're gonna move in. We've moved in this turn, but providing we don't threaten them too much, they might actually, yeah, we want to keep these guys.
Understood.
Keep the Democratic Trade Faction in power. Now these ones, I think it's the Veteran Brothers Command. Yeah, we don't have any. We don't have enough on them now. Information on them. So we need to get some spies in. Sorry, covert ops is what I want.
Copy that.
Let's get a spy ring in there if we can.
Copy that.
Yeah, easy job. We've got a good spy master. Okay, so we're gonna get some spies in. I forget which one it is. I think it's the Veteran Brothers Command. I think the isolationists are who are in power now, and they're the ones, you know, they're all right. But the expansionists are the bad guys.
Understood.
We don't want them. As a militarist faction, they're going to be bad. Popular soldier in the 5th Independent Machine Gun Battalion. Let's have a look at our profiles. Democracy's probably a good bet. Why? Well, let's have a look. Conflict resolution is going to give us a quality of life bonus 50%. If that's not an attractive proposition at this stage of the game, I don't know what is. Okay. Yeah, it's just this part. It's just this part of the battle that I'm, of the war that I'm a bit concerned about now. Goldstone. Ah, interesting. We've got some relations with them. I don't know if that's been like that for a while. I wonder if we can try to make peace with these guys as well. If we can get some peace, right, and I can get some, fix my oil issue and try to get some rare metals, then we're back in the game. All right, maybe. I mean, we're still going to be miles behind, and at some point in the distant future, we're going to get nuked if we don't do something. But, I mean, we can try. Got to try to win, haven't we? We might be able to open... Oh, no, that's Dunkelstart. Oh, have we not got... That's interesting. What about these guys? Okay, no, they're not having it. But Dunkelstart might do it.
Understood.
Success. Okay. Dunkelstart accepted envoys. What about Goldstone, though? Because, I mean, if we could... Like, Dunkelstart I don't want to go to war with. Goldstone are at war. I think Sansaria, we might be able to get out of this war quite quickly now that we've got the more reasonable faction in power. If that's the case, I might feel a little bit more confident about this game because I can be like, okay, I'm going to try to, maybe I try and get into Brambond or something, or take some more territory off Elisaria or something. Just whatever it is that we can do in order to try to make our game feel a bit, more winnable. This is not looking good, though. Oh, we can give them credits. This one gives you 2d6. Okay, this one gives you 1d6.
Understood.
Okay. So let's see if let's try and butter up Goldstone. If we can get them to a position where excuse me. If we can get them to a position where we can start changing things with them. Also, I think we need to start working on their politics as well, on their political situation.
Copy that.
It's going to be hard to get spies in here, I feel.
Copy that.
But let's try.
Copy that.
Okay, we got lucky there. So we've got a whole bunch of spies now in Goldstone. If we, like, this, we might be able to do something if we, because, okay, let's say that I managed to get a peace agreement with one of these forces. That means we've got at least, what? I mean, it's going to be these guys, I think, if anything. Or we finish off these. Either way, that will be 3 brigades that I can bring up here to deal with the demons. And the demons are they'll melt to 3 brigades. Alternatively, if it's Sansaria, that's 2 brigades on this front. Plus, numerous sort of smaller groups, smaller independent regiments. I could have a think about what are the tools that we've got on the field. I really, really do want to get some artillery up, though. Ah, there we go, look. Okay, we can get an independent motorized artillery regiment. That's there. What about here? Did I try it here before? I think I did, didn't I? Okay, we get most of them up there. Like, if they're motorized, I can drive them. The problem is that we don't have much oil. But, walking artillery regiments down there ain't going to do me any good. What about division? Can we... nowhere near to a division, I don't think. Oh, no, we're halfway. Now, division would do the job. That would be enough guns. I think that you would probably see some real damage on that city. Okay, these are the load of 3s. Yeah, the load of 3s are the big ones, look. You can tell by the ammunition requirements. So... you need to be able to raise at least 50% of the formation. What's the issue here? Oil. Okay. Oil's the problem. Let's just go through our assets, see what we can do here. Okay, biofuel. That's where we were hoping to put it up. Are we putting biofuel up here as well? Because that would be a smart move. No. Okay. This is why it's really important for me to have a break from games from time to time, because I start looking at things with new eyes, and also I get time to kind of digest some of the the advice and criticism and that kind of thing. Ah, we can put a deep core gas extractor. Now that ain't going to use food. It's 4 rounds though. How much? Right. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. And I've done this before. And I get eyebrows raised when I do stuff like this. But sometimes you just need stuff quick, right? Yeah, we're losing 400 a turn. What? Let's just put up biofuel. It's faster. It's not as efficient in the long term, but just to get one up. We've got the biofuel refinery. I think that's going to be the one. It's going to give us 200 per turn, and it comes out in 3 rounds, not 4. Gives us more.
Yes, sir.
Better deal. Then what we could also, once that one's up, then we go for the deep core gas. Because I think once you start going into level 2 of that one, you might find, of the biofuel, you probably find that the food costs become quite high. Look, just give you a lot of fuel though. It's why I love this game. So many interesting choices. Right, okay, so this is something I've been talking. And by the way, guys, for those of you who are interested in listening to me talk, you can just log off now. I'm going to talk just for a couple of minutes because I want to talk about games design a little bit. So I've been talking a fair bit when I've been playing roguelikes about what I'm seeing as an increasing push for the kind of streamlining of games design to the point where games are easy to play, but then they're less complex and less immersive as a result. In my opinion, they're losing a lot of complexity. They're being dumbed down, and they are basically a lot of stuff that UI designers and games designers consider to be extraneous to the process of making decisions in a game are actually stuff that I think is immersive. Okay. And here's an excellent example of this. How many games do you know that would, strategy games that would give you like 6 different types of fuel production, and where it's actually meaningful as well, because each one of those fuel production types is going to work better on a different planet. How many games do you know that do stuff like that? Now, if this game, if Vic subscribed to the Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup game of, sort of community when it comes to games design, he'd have just stripped that out. They'd be like, oh no, we just need one, because you only need one fuel. In fact, if it was like DCSS, there would be you wouldn't bother building it. You'd have like fuel would just be part of the unit or something, or there would be no fuel. They'd just be like, oh, don't worry about fuel. You don't need it. It's extraneous to the game design. So, and I know it's, obviously it's a little bit hyperbolic to use those two quite extreme examples, but I think it's important because a lot of the stuff that I see people talking about when they criticize Shadow Empire is the stuff that I love. Oh, it's got a weird UI. Yeah, well, I like that. It begs to be explored. I love the UI in this game. It's amazing. It's not, well, I think amazing is probably a bit of an overstatement, but I like it. It's not Stockholm Syndrome either. I liked it when I first played it. I think it's interesting. In the same way that I really like the user interface in Galactic Ruler, which a lot of people, criticize, and I think it's great, but it's because it's an older design and it doesn't have that same boring kind of 4X thing that you just get, you just see carbon copied from game to game to game now. No wonder everyone's sick of 4X games and no one buys them anymore. So I think it's an interesting thing because Shadow Empire is full of this kind of redundancy. But it's not really redundant. It's only redundant if you try to look at games from, the side of them having to be super streamlined and everything's got to be available at a click, But I don't like excessive menu diving in games. But this game really doesn't have a lot of it. There are. Look, we go into the reports. There's a bit of menu diving. What's menu diving? All right. For those of you who don't know what that means. Menu diving was something that I first heard about in the music production community. So if you've got let's say you've got a piece of software or a synthesizer or a drum machine, And in order to get to some critical function, you have to hit multiple buttons to go through multiple menus. It kind of gets a bit laborious, right? So really you want, like in that case, that's when user interface design needs to be kind of concise. Although I still argue actually that an interesting user interface can really stimulate creativity, but that's another conversation. But when it comes to games are not, this is not like a printer terminal. Like I'm not some guy working in a warehouse who's got to print off, you know, I've got to put together some print sheet for an order or something, and it's got to be accurate, and I need to do it quickly and easily. That's not what this is. This is a video game, and video games are not work. If you start streamlining video games like they are work machines, you're going to get people bored because they're going to feel like they're at work, right? That's now, I think about this advice probably, or this kind of like conversation probably only applies for about 20% of the population, I'd say. I think about when I talk about this stuff, I either get tumbleweeds, or you know, people just don't know what I'm on about, or they're not really interested, or it provokes an extremely strong reaction from about 80% of the people. They're like, "What are you talking about? No, UI should just purely be about it's purely about making, you know, the game features accessible, and that's it." Right? I don't agree with that, because if that was the truth, why would even very, very good, you know, like I look at a game like Age of Wonders 4, right? Good game. I don't really like it that much. I like it a bit, but I don't love it. But that game's got a very good user interface, okay? And it's super colourful and it just looks great. So if people who tell me that user interfaces are completely just about ease of access, well, that's nonsense, clearly, because otherwise why would you put the effort into trying to make it fit? I mean, look at this. The user interface fits beautifully with the map. It works really, really well. This is a good user interface, in my opinion. It's got some problem areas, no doubt about it. I'm the first person to admit that. Vic will tell you. I think Vic is probably looking at the user interface and, you know, changing it at some point. And I hope he doesn't change it too much, because I think it's wonderful. But that just goes to show you that, like, there are a few people who always say, no, it's just about ease of use. And a few more reasonable people would probably add the caveat, well, it also needs to look like it fits the game. Well, no duh, definitely it does. That's really important. I'd go a step further. I think user interface is incredibly important when it comes to immersion. I think that one of the reasons why I stuck with this game when it was difficult to learn was that I was like, wow, look at all this stuff, like there's so much cool shit in here, and I didn't know what any of it meant, but I was just interested. Now, I think if you've got an inquiry, you know, a mind that is interested in learning, you know, if you like, I know, like, let's say, for example, Rob from Explorminate, I think, struggled to get into this a little bit, although he does like it. When he did play it, he turned around to me one day and goes, I get it now. He's like, I see why you all like this. I do get it. I think it's really good. But Rob, he hasn't got much time for gaming, right? He's super busy in his life, so he doesn't get that much time for gaming. And the time he does have, he wants to get into the meat of the game, and I absolutely 100% agree with that. Like, if you are the sort of player, right, who just needs to get straight into a game, Shadow Empire is probably not going to be the game for you, because it takes some time to learn. But if you are the kind of player that likes investing time and energy and, you know, effort into a game, then it serves the game to have a very immersive user interface that begs exploration. And, you know, no, it's not going to sell well. Like, this game's never going to sell like Civilization or something. And part of the reason is it's just not, you know, most of the people who play Civ aren't this game's target audience. You know, and a friend of mine, he likes to say, if he thinks a game's bad, or that, you know, if he thinks like a game's got a bad user interface or something that will put off a normal gamer, you know, like a casual gamer, he's got a really polite, like an interesting way of saying it. He kind of goes, I guess I'm just not this game's target audience. And that's him basically saying, yeah, this game sucks, right? And I think that this game is not the, you know, in a more sort of literal way, I don't think this game's target audience is the sort of player who needs the game to be, you know, something that is easily accessible. That doesn't mean to say that there aren't things that need changing in this, but it's the same with the game design principles. So where someone else might look at this, I saw someone on Explorminate recently criticizing it, saying that there's a load of stuff in here that's redundant, you don't need half of it, why not, you know, like logistics, for example, why don't you just strip it out? It's like, because then it wouldn't be Shadow Empire. Like, you know, if you want to go and play a strategic command or whatever, go and play it. There's basic simple games like that for people who want to play, games that are easy to play but still have some depth. There's loads of them like that. Like Warplan's really good for that, by Al Souza, Kraken Games. Like Warplan, the Warplan series is excellent, and that is a game where and when I spoke to Al, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but Al said he played Shadow Emperor and he felt it was over complex, and that's fine. You know, like I understand that not everybody wants to put in the time to learn like a really, really complex game like this, and it's not always necessary for the strategic decisions that you make in a game. Like, you know, in order for us to make these strategic moves, right, or these tactical moves on the tactical side of the game, do you really need all the like these complex mechanics, the sandbox stuff, you know, the heavy simulation with the migration of people to do with happiness levels? Do you need that? Probably not. But does it enhance the game? I'll leave you to answer that question. I assume if you're still watching it, turn 137 of a series of a guy who plays quite slowly and tends to talk a lot, you probably agree with me that the excess simulation stuff actually enhances this game on every level, in the tactical level. So, and that includes having like 200 different types of units that you can recruit, and you know, all like this is how many mining things you get, and we're not even right through the tech tree yet. Okay, I mean, is this more than Master of Orion? Master of Orion 2, sorry. Probably. Yeah, there is, because you've got the different levels, I guess. But, you know, still. 4X games, and this is a 4X game, make no mistake about it, right? 4X games do, when at their best, when they do this, when they come from Master of Magic and Master of Orion, the Simtex classics, where they first started introducing manually constructed buildings, you know, different build assets, as you'd call them in this game, right? Where you like, you build your metal mine, you manually build your barracks, you manually build your government buildings, whatever. That all came from Master of Magic. There's probably earlier games as well, but you know, for all intents and purposes, that stuff came from Master of Magic, and it came from Master of Orion. Master of Orion 2 copied it. The original Master of Orion was completely different. It had a slider-based system, which is probably superior in my opinion, at least for that game. But since we've had this system of manually building stuff, whether it's units, you know, not just moving a slider around to increase your armies, because there are games like that from the 80s and stuff, where you're just like, oh, I want 2,000 troops? Okay, I'm just going to move a slider. Now I've got 2,000 troops. And it's the same with your buildings, you know, with your mines and stuff. When you start going down this route of manually building stuff, you've got to make sure it's engaging, and the mechanics in the game have to be, you know, the surrounding mechanics need to be there to support those considerations, right? What you, as a developer, you've gone to the extent of building 6 different ways of generating power, and wow, you've even gone to the effort of making new graphics for it. What, for each of the 7 levels as well? Well, then you better have some surrounding mechanics to make all that worthwhile engaging with, and boy has he done a good job of that in this. That's all I'm going to say, guys. I'm going to catch you next time. Leave a comment, by the way. I really appreciate hearing your thoughts on this stuff, whether it's on the game itself or whether it's on the, you know, the 10-minute diatribe I've just subjected you to. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and let's get a conversation going about this stuff, because I think I'm not the only person saying this. I occasionally come across someone else who's a bit of an old man shouting at clouds like me, who is lamenting modern games design. Honestly, you know, seriously, there's some amazing games coming out, some fantastic new games that are pushing modern games design to the limit and are excellent as a result. So I'm not saying it's all games, but when we're looking at even AA game, you know, like AAA games are lost. I just don't even bother with them anymore. You know, look at all the stuff that's going on around, you know, in the media about them at the moment, and just, I don't understand why anyone would pay for them. But even AA games now from a lot of these companies are starting to go down this route of familiarity and whatever makes, you know, the developer make money easily. And that is anti-consumer at the end of the day, because they're not really giving people what they want in the, you know. And even though games like this fulfill a very, very niche level, you know, very, very niche amount of people, and as my friend did say, you know, most people are not the target audience for this game, I still think that we need more games like this, because, you know, not every game has to be like Shadow Empire, but God, if we keep going down this kind of this streamlined minimalists, you know, made for people, made for casuals, basically. If games are just always going to be made for casuals, gaming's in big trouble, you know, in big trouble in my opinion. And we need more games like this. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. Catch you later, guys. Take care. Bye.